Hi everyone, it's Melody with Nolting, and I'm so excited to welcome you to our live event today. This event is for National Quilters Month, which is happening now, and I am so excited about the incredible lineup of dealers and ambassadors that we have speaking today. I really hope that this helps you get in the spirit of National Quilting Month and gives you some inspiration to get started. We have all kinds of very exciting things going on today, so just as everyone's getting into the live, I just want to welcome you all and say thank you so much for attending. I am so excited. You can ask questions in chat, and we will have a Nolting admin in there responding and talking with you all, so I hope that you enjoy the live event. Everyone's still joining in. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat and leave your name, maybe say what kind of machine you have if you're already a Nolting quilter, and if you're not, hi, welcome in. We are so excited to have you here. No matter who you are, no matter where you're at in your quilting journey, we are so happy to have you on this live event today, and I hope that this is a super fun experience for everyone. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right into our first segment.
Think of it as a power tool with thread. Yes, your sewing machine, and today we're going to be talking about your long arm. We're going to talk about maintenance of your long arm machine, your frame, and even a little bit on automation. Those three things are the three parts of your long arm system. In this first segment, I want to talk about maintaining your long arm frame. Now, Nolting equipment, the machine, the frame, are very easy to take care of. So we'll just cover the basics of this because that's really all it takes. So covering the frame, maintaining your frame involves just a few simple things. One is a maintenance on a regular basis, which means every time you're going to use your machine and your frame, you need to clean it first. Quilting is a very linty business. We get dust bunnies under the machine, under the frame. We need to clean all that up. We get lint that falls onto our frame. We need to clean that up. Very simple to do. All you need is some scrap batting or a microfiber cloth and some alcohol. This is simple rubbing alcohol, and I found this neat little pump container at my local drugstore. Open it up, pump this up onto a piece of batting or onto the microfiber cloth, and then you're going to clean inside the rails. So going down inside the channels here, we're just simply going to wipe our way down through all the way to make sure that we clean up any thread that might have fallen down in there, any lint that has fallen down in there, both sides, both rails inside. And I picked up some lint and stuff in here. And we also want to clean the channels that the machine rides in. So we move it all the way to the front, slide your hand in to clean along the rail on both sides and the back. And then coming around and doing the same thing in the front. I roll the machine to the back, go all the way along the channel on both sides to clean the channel out in front of the wheels in here. Now, something else that can be done as well is to clean the wheels off, the axle wheels, with your same cloth, and this is what I've picked up inside there, lint and things that got in there. So I'm going to fold this over. I still have alcohol on here. I can lay this against the wheel and I can roll the carriage. The wheel is turning, and I can clean the wheel off itself. You want to do this on both sides of your axle, and you can do the same thing, putting it on the wheels in your carriage as well. Back here against the wheel, and go all the way around to all four wheels that are in your carriage. Good idea to do this, the wheels, every few times that you clean the frame, but the frame definitely needs to be done every time that you use it. Also, if you have an IntelliQuilter system, there's one more thing that you need to do when you're cleaning your frame. and that is to clean the top of the channel where the drive wheel is actually driving. So this is the IQ motor on the back of the frame, on the back of the carriage, riding on the top of the back rail. Very important for me to clean the dust and the lint off of this as well, because if you keep this surface nice and clean, then your drive wheel in here is not going to be picking up lint, and it reduces the maintenance on that drive wheel. Same thing over here on the side of the machine. We have our IntelliQuilter drive motor here, so it's important to keep this clean as well. So clean this with your alcohol, and as this goes back and forth, it's going to be rolling on a nice clean surface and not picking up any dust or lint. One other component that you find on your frame and on the side of your machine is your encoder. This is the encoder on the back of the carriage here on this particular frame, and there's an encoder on the side of your machine as well. This is what will fire the stitches as this moves along. The wheel is turning and your encoder is firing stitches for your stitch regulation. Well, it's important to keep the encoder wheel clean as well. So this one is an exposed one. This is an older carriage. The newer carriages have the encoder down inside of the carriage rail. So here, what I do, I have my same cloth that I was cleaning with alcohol on it, and rolling along here and cleaning the dust and lint off of my encoder wheel. I do the same thing here. My encoder wheel is riding down in the channel, and as I move the machine back and forth, I can feel that wheel turning. And I have my damp cleaning cloth on that, and I clean that off. This will help to preserve and keep those encoder wheels going. So this is what the encoder wheels actually, or the encoder tires look like. They're an O-ring. Now, as a matter of practice, these need to be replaced every 2 or 3 years because they do get cracks in them and then they don't function as well. Our frame, just as a matter of life, sometimes things begin to get a little bit loose. 1/2 inch and 7/16 are used on your frame. The 1/2 inch bolts are right here that connect the frame deck together. These should be checked probably once a year. The other bolts that need to be checked probably once a year with the 7/16 are the ones that hold the frame legs onto the frame itself. So using 7/16 here and on the inside, make sure that these are tight. Don't tighten them too tight. Don't over tighten them, but just tighten them so that they're good and snug. The other part of the frame that requires a 3/8 inch nut driver and an Allen wrench are your channel screws. These do loosen over time, so it's not uncommon maybe to find a spare nut somewhere and you go wonder where it is. It may have come off of the inside of here. So using a nut driver on the nut itself and an Allen on the screw, just double check these about 1 time a year. Lastly, on frames, some of you may have a hydraulic system that raises and lowers, or can raise and lower your frame itself so you can set it at a custom height for yourself. There's something that you need to do at least once a month, and it is recommended in the instructions that came with the hydraulics itself. You may or may not have gotten those. But the important thing is you do need to exercise the hydraulics on your system once a month. So the way this works is you're going to take your up and down, you're going to press it to raise the system all the way to the top. When it gets all the way to the top, you're going to lower it all the way to the floor, or down as far as it will go. And then back up to whatever height you want it at. It's important for the hydraulic system to work once in a while to keep the fluids flowing through the system. And the other reason for doing this is by raising it all the way up and down and back up again, this will self-level it. Moving on now to maintaining your machine. Fortunately, the Nolting machines are super simple to maintain, which is a really good plus. It doesn't take you very long to do it. Dusting them off once in a while, just sitting around with all that lint in the air from quilting, they do need to be cleaned. So microfiber cloth, scrap piece of batting, really good for that. The other thing has to do with the oiling. Remember, this is a machine. Machines that are properly taken care of will last a very long time. And that includes lubricating them according to the recommended time frame. For the Nolting machines, very simple. On the top of the head are 4 red dots. This is not decorative. These are dots where you're going to oil the machine. Oiling is very easy. It's done every 8 hours of actual machine runtime. That means the machine is running, you're quilting or warming the machine up. This is not time that you're standing at the frame thinking or maybe quilting. You're actually quilting with it and running the machine. Now the nice thing is, on the newer machines from Nolting, there is a clock in there and you will get a pop-up reminder when it's time to do that. Well, what do you need? You need just sewing machine oil. Nothing special, but it must be sewing machine oil. Never use anything other than sewing machine oil. You'll put 1 drop of oil on each of these red dots every 8 hours of actual quilting time. I wanted to show you the inside of the head. Now, I loosened these screws before so I could get this off real quick. Once a year, it's probably a good idea to take the side cover off the machine and take a look inside. Now, what are you looking for? Well, one of the things that you might be looking for is to see, is there any lint and dust that is building up in there? This one's nice and clean because I cleaned it out back a while ago. The other thing is, just make sure that there's no oil puddling down here. If there is, then you're over oiling your machine. The other thing to check on is to make sure that these wicks in here actually feel like the oil is on them. So you're going to feel of it and they'll feel a little bit oily. Also take a look and make sure that they are pointed to something. And when the machine is operating, that oil that is on those wicks is dropping down, or the wicks are brushing past something where that oil goes to. So this is something to check once a year is probably sufficient enough to make sure everything is good in the head. Using the diamond machine now to show you how to oil the hook assembly, I do have my bobbin light on down here so that you can see very clearly. In the bobbin area, you need to oil this every other time you change your bobbin. So when you put in a brand new bobbin, every other time you're going to oil the hook assembly down here. Now this is very important to oil because there's a lot of lint that ends up down in the bobbin area. With every bobbin change, you want to take some canned air and blow it around in there. Make sure you hit all the nooks and crannies. So with the bobbin case out, you're going to cycle your machine either by hand or with your needle down. Make sure that your needle is in the down position. And I can see a little bit more lint. right there on the hook shield, so I want to get rid of that. And with the needle in the down position, you're going to place your oiler right about here, about 7 o'clock, and put 1 or 2 drops of oil right there. One of the things about oiling is don't worry if you get 2 drops or 3 drops. Just make sure this has enough oil. This requires a lot of oil because this is turning all the time as you're making stitches, 2 times around, in fact, to make 1 stitch. So it requires a lot of lubrication. While we're talking about maintenance, there's a couple of other things here on your machine that you need to look at every once in a while. So taking a look down here, what I need you to notice is the space that's between the thread guide and the side of the hopping foot right there. You have to see daylight in that space. I'm going to show you a foot where that didn't happen. And if you can see right here, you can see the damage on this hopping foot. That prevents the needle from going up and down properly. It chews away at the side of your hopping foot shaft right there, and it did damage. I've seen these damaged even worse than this. So make sure that you periodically check this, especially if you use rulers a lot with your high visibility foot. Make sure you check this. The other thing to check and make sure is if there's the correct hopping foot height. That's done, this is in the downmost position, by sliding a dime underneath there. If you can't get a dime underneath there, then there needs to be an adjustment made in the needle bar height. So the last thing really with our sewing machine, with our quilting machine, is to make sure that we change the needle on a regular basis. These need to be changed at least every 8 hours of quilting. So a good practice might be every time you oil the red dots on the top of your machine is to change the needle on it. You can change it more frequently than that if you want to, but that would be the maximum that you would want to go, would be 8 hours. Make sure that the needles you're using are for the machine that you have. The M-hook machines use a needle that are labeled MR. So make sure that you have an MR needle for your M-hook machines, which is the larger bobbin. One way to tell if it's an MR needle or not is that the front of it bumps out. If you run your finger along the groove side of the needle, you'll feel that bump out on the front of the needle. That is an MR needle. There are multi-directional needles meant to be used with your M hook. Do not use MR needles in your L hook machines. If you have an L hook machine, like this nice red Fun Quilter here, or a flare, it uses a regular standard needle. There is no bump out on the front of it when you run your finger down the groove in the front of the needle, or like this, it's absolutely flat. There is no bump out on it. These needles could be used in the M, but not vice versa. Never put in an MR needle into an L hook machine like the Fun Quilter or your flare. For those of you that have QuiltMagine automation, there's a couple of things that you need to think about on regular maintenance for that as well. So on my diamond here, I have QuiltMagine. One of the things that should be done on a regular basis is just to take your canned air and clean it up. But the bigger thing is right here. There is a gear and the belt, the horizontal belt, goes through that area so that when the machine goes left to right like this, you can see the belt going across the top of that gear. It is, because this space is open, it's very easy for thread that might be hanging down from the bobbin or on the underside of your quilt to get caught down in that gear. So this should be checked on a very regular basis to make sure that no thread is being caught and winding around the front part or the back part of where that gear is. Take a look and check that out on a very regular basis. what will happen eventually is it will start binding up in there, make it harder and harder for QuiltMagine to move the carriage side to side, and it could cause possible damage to the motors and other things that are in your motor plate. We've covered a lot of maintenance things that involve the frame, the machine, and even your automation, and it may be challenging at times to remember all of those things. There is a really good resource called Basics and Beyond with Nolting. This might be a good resource to have on your bookshelf to refer to when you need to maintain your machine, or if you're having trouble at some point.
Okay, everybody, I'm a little bit nervous for this next segment, but I'm excited. It's going to be fun. In honor of National Quilters Month, our owner, Melissa McAfee, is going to be teaching me, who has never really quilted that much, how to do pantographs on our Nolting diamond. So let's get into it. So it is currently National Quilters Month, which means it is the perfect time to get into quilting. I personally, if you don't know, I do the marketing here at Nolting, so a lot of my time here is spent behind a computer, which means I've only ever played around with these machines once, actually. So as much as I love and appreciate quilting, I haven't really had the chance to actually do it myself. But in spirit of National Quilters Month, we are trying to show everyone the Nolting effect means that no matter who you are or how much experience you have, quilting is for everyone, and you can absolutely get into it. So Melissa is here with me today to kind of show me how to work with pantographs and get started on quilting as a total beginner.
So a little bit about pantographs. It's a perfect way to start quilting because sometimes people get a little intimidated with the free motion, thinking, well, maybe my mind isn't as creative as other people's minds. Well, with the pantograph, what's nice about it is that you don't have to think about it. The design is already there for you. We sell over 1,000 patterns on patternman.com. Anywhere from very simple patterns to more complex patterns. We have some hearts, we have some trucks, we have some stuff for Christmas, another thing. So we have all different designs, and then we have very basic designs as well. Maybe you want just a regular crazy puzzle design. So we have lots of designs that helps with the creativity when you come to pantograph. Very easy to set up. You can set up the pantographs on both of our systems, both of our frames, I should say, as long as you have a laser pointer. Now the diamond here already has a laser port. All of our machines, new machines, have laser ports in them. We have a laser port in the back. We also have a laser port in the front that you could actually do pantographs from the front. Today we're going to see pantographing from the back. You can do the pantographs on our commercial frame. You can also do it on our stretch steel frame. And one of the things with the pantographs is that you do want to take into account how big your throat is. So if you have a 24-inch throat, you're going to be able to do a much bigger pattern on that throat. We sell anywhere from 5-inch patterns all the way up to 15-inch patterns, or we might even have 17-inch patterns, very large patterns. But if you have a smaller machine, such as a 17-inch pattern, you would not want to do or pick out a 12-inch pattern because it's going to be too big for you. And what I mean by that is the space here, you're not going to have enough space in your quilting area as you advance your quilt. So a couple things on the using a laser, that's what you use to follow it. On our diamond here, I actually just click it off to the rear, and my laser light is going to come down here on my pattern, and you will be able to see it as I trace the pattern. The front, the laser light will go here, and you could trace. So for example, let's say you had a really cool picture that you found on the internet that would fit into your block really nicely. You could lay your block here, and then you could shine your laser on it to be able to use that laser and copy that quilt or that block into your block. This one here, the patterns that we're referring to in the back, are really for your edge-to-edge pattern. When you get a pattern from us, our pattern bands all come in 12-foot sections. We have lots of different other accessories that you can also purchase with our patterns. We have kits And the kits, they come with grids. So one of the things you can do is you can actually purchase patterns from us that are already done. You can purchase the grids and actually make your own patterns as well using your laser light from the back. You can take a pattern that you purchased from us and maybe it is too big. You can use this to resize it so that you can get a smaller pattern, and that's what you can use if you have maybe a smaller area that you're trying to put that pattern in. Our kits come in 3 different kits we have on our website. They also come with a ruler, little spray thing so you can wipe it off, a ruler here and a marker and a little cloth that the kits come in. And they come in 3 different sizes on our website and on the patternman.com website as well. The other thing that's really good, if you're using a pantograph, because remember you're quilting from the back, so your head is down, it's down low like this. One of the things that could happen is your thread could break. This thumb wheel cover is a game changer for people. This you can put directly onto your thumb wheel here. On your thumb wheel, so if something were to happen, your thread's not going to go into that thumb wheel. Just a couple little tips for when you're going to use the laser on the pantograph. The other thing that's really nice is on the diamond, because you're quilting from the back once again, we actually have a low bobbin indicator on this. So as you're quilting along, if your bobbin were to start running low, it's actually going to start blinking blue all over your quilt. Because as you're quilting down, your head is down here and not looking at the back of the screen. So now you're going to have this light that's going to say, hey, it's time to look up. The other thing is if your thread were to break on the diamond, you have a thread break sensor right here. It will start blinking purple throughout your machine. So it tells you, hey, look up. It's your thread just broke, because once again, you don't want it to get sucked up into your take-up lever or into your wheel here. Otherwise, you're going to have that inside your head. But those are a couple tips or a couple things that you get from getting buying a diamond is when you pantograph, it makes it a lot easier from the back. And lastly, there's pantograph lighting from the back as well. So there's lighting that is attached to your back handles, and it actually lights up right here on your pantograph. Make sure I have it on. No, I have it on. There's my pantograph lighting, so that will give you additional lighting from the back. So with that, let's go ahead and get started.
Yes, absolutely. And if there is anyone out there who's afraid to get started, just know I myself am pretty intimidated at the moment. So if I can do it, I am sure you can.
A couple other things I was going to mention too. So as you first get started, some people, the thing with quilting is you have to get your muscle memory going. And buying a simple pattern without even using the thread is a way to get your muscle memory and a way for you to get that movement and that fluidity in your movement. So for example, if I just take this and start following it, I don't have to quilt it right away, but I know I'm being able to follow this and being able to get my muscle memory down and getting my quilting down. So Melody, I'm just gonna have you take this without quilting yet and kind of get that feel of doing those loops with the machine.
Perfect. And even just moving it around as someone who's not super used to doing this, it's so smooth and light and easy with the frame. And I notice as I'm doing it, I can tell it's starting to get a little bit easier for me to actually hit the lines, whereas when I first started, I didn't exactly know where I was going. Okay.
You can tell a big difference from the
Yes.
start to the beginning, can't you?
Yes.
And even when I'm doing a demo, just like Melody just mentioned, when I'm doing a demo, a customer will come in the back and they get intimidated and they do a really hard grip on the back, and I would say, take a couple just fingers, take a breather, relax, and just start going. And you can tell a big difference. And we'll have Melody do this as she starts from the beginning all the way to the end and what her quilting looks like.
Yes.
So with that, I'm going to use some thread now.
Perfect.
You ready, Melody?
I am.
Okay, first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to bring up the thread, the bobbin.
Okay.
So we just brought up the bobbin, as you can tell. Now, when I start my pattern, I can use different modes. I'm going to put it in the regulated mode. If I was doing something that had a lot of corners, a lot of points, I would use the cruise mode. All our new technology in all of our machines, the flare, the layer, and the diamond, have a cruise mode, so it's a combination of regulated manual, and it helps you get very nice points as you're going in and out of corners. This one has a lot of curves, so I feel like the need is more of a regulated mode on this particular one. So I'm gonna try it, and then I'm gonna hand it over to you so you can kind of get a feel for it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Melody, I'm gonna shut it off, and I'm gonna let you take over from there.
Okay. So all
So
I need
just
to do.
push the green button here,
Okay.
and when you push the green button, you actually saw you saw a light up there that blinked green at you. It's telling you your machine is ready to go, and now you can drive it.
Okay, so I'm good to get started?
You're good to get started.
Okay.
Oh! What just happened?
Does that mean that the bobbin ran out of thread?
It did.
Okay.
It did. So this is the light that I mentioned. It's blinking blue there, blinking blue here. Now it does on the front of the screen blink red, and it blinks red back here.
Okay.
But as I mentioned before, you're not in the back necessarily looking at your screen. You're looking over here to the side because you're looking at where you're going next in that
Yes.
pattern. So now you could see that visual of that light going off.
Yes, and I'm glad I didn't just keep going and run out of thread. I'd look back and I'd say, well, where's my design?
Exactly. So we're gonna go and we're going to put the thread back, pretend like we changed the bobbin so that Melody can continue with the pantograph.
Okay.
Then push your green. There you go now. Couple tips, Melody, try to kind of relax and put just a couple fingers on the back of your handles.
Okay.
You're doing great.
And just the more I do it, the more comfortable it feels.
And you'll get into a rhythm and you just start going.
I can already see how relaxing this would be. I feel like I could do it for hours. What's so nice about this as a beginner is I don't have to spend time thinking about the design. That work is already kind of done for me, and then I'm able to just go and learn the muscle memory and figure out what I need to do.
It's a great way to get started.
now I'm at the end of the pattern.
Now you push the red button.
Okay.
It just blinked. It was blinking red at you, saying my machine is off now.
Gotcha. And
So,
for my first time, I
For
think
your
I'll
first
take it.
time, you look amazing. You can see as she got more and more comfortable with going in circles, but it's very easy to just keep going and going across. And you got your loops done here, got better as you went across.
That's it. And it just got a lot easier for me to move it too as I went.
Now, one of the things I wanted to show, I wanted to demonstrate,
Yes.
I'm going to, as you're quilting, I'm going to go on the other side of you.
Okay.
As you're quilting, I'm going to have you go back that way with the machine, and I'm going to do something so you can see another demonstration of one of the features of the dime.
Okay, perfect. So just quilt over what I
So go
already
ahead
did.
and quilt over what you did. Just start it again.
What does that purple light mean?
So the purple light means that something happened with your thread. That is a feature that's on the diamond, and it's a great feature if you're doing pantographs, because then you know that you're not all the way to the end of your row and you're not actually quilting. Because once again, as you're looking down, your head's down here, this is telling you something just happened. Look up. Your thread, something happened to your thread on the top here, and then you need to stop and rethread it again.
Well, that's helpful. So yeah, just as my first time doing it, I have to say that's easier than I thought. I was a little bit nervous, and like Melissa said at the start, you can even kind of see I was a little shakier, but the more I got into it, the more confident I felt doing it. And I feel like if I was someone who owned a long arm and had a pantern and decided to just keep practicing on it, I could definitely get there. If just one row taught me so much, then I'm sure if I kept going, I would learn even more every single time.
So question for you, Melody. So when you did the pantograph versus thinking about a free motion, even though you were a little nervous doing it, did it make you feel a little bit more comfortable because you didn't have to think about the design?
Yes, so the only other time I've ever tried quilting, I was doing a free motion meander, and the whole time I was not only stressed about how is this gonna look, but I thought, well, where should I go next? How should the design look? And with this, all I had to do was make sure I was quilting smoothly and moving the machine right,
Good.
and then I was able to just go and do the design that was already planned out for me.
Good, good. So that's a little bit about beginning pantographs. And like I mentioned, our machines all come with laser pointers on the back. I should say our new machines. If you have a machine that doesn't have a laser pointer, you can always buy a battery operated laser from us too, regardless if you have a Nolting or a different brand. We sell battery operated lasers on our website that you can do all our pantographs. And hopefully that provides you some more as far as quilting doesn't have to be intimidated. You don't always have to come up with this creative design, that there's lots and lots of options for you that you can use on your machine, regardless if it's a small machine or a big machine, that helps you be able to quilt your quilts.
Yes, so if you are looking to get into long arm quilting, even if you're intimidated, you can feel free to come by if you are near Hiawatha, Iowa, and we'll give you a demo in person. You can try out a pantograph just like I did, or you can book a free consultation/demo with us at Nolting.com. Melissa can go over the machines with you and talk about techniques like this that are going to work for you and your quilting goals. So whether or not you're just getting started, we have something that'll help you out even if you're a beginner.
A couple other ways to see us as well is through our dealers and our ambassadors. And last year we introduced tours, the Nolting tours across the United States. So we're starting to do more and more of those. Look for tours in your area. That gives you also an opportunity to get a demonstration on our machines, pantographs, automation, and just see all of our various equipment and our products that we can bring to your home.
Yes, and completely for free at Nolting.com, you can download the All-in-One Quilters Workbook, which has all kinds of amazing exercises for beginners. There's things like planning out your quilts and sketching them, logging what projects you want to do. So if you are intimidated as you're just getting into it, that is going to be a huge resource for you. Well, thank you so much for watching me have my second ever quilting attempt, and Melissa, thank you for showing me around a little bit. Absolutely, do not be intimidated if you're looking to get into this. And remember, for National Quilters Month, you should help out a new quilter get into it, or if you yourself are a new quilter, this is the time to get started. Hi, it's Melody again. I hope you're enjoying the live event so far. Let me know in the chat if anybody has any questions and how it's going for you so far. I just wanted to take a moment to remind you that we have Nolting dealers all across the globe. So whether you're already working with us and you just need some help, maybe you're looking for a repair, or if you're brand new and you're looking for someone to connect with, you can go over to nolting.com and you can check out our dealer locator and find out who's in your area. You can also just give us a call at 319-378-0999. Say your name, where you're from, and we can help you point in the right direction and figure out who it is that you need to connect with. But I cannot tell you enough, our dealers are wonderful, so are our ambassadors. They all have a wealth of knowledge and they all have such unique perspectives, and they all have their own specialties and certain things that they like to do. So even if you don't necessarily need help in the moment, it's amazing to just connect with your Nolting dealer and kind of figure out who they are and what their perspective is. Some of them would love to bounce off ideas with you and just chat. They are all so friendly, so kind. I personally work with all of them, and they're all wonderful people to chat with and connect with. So I really just want to encourage you to just go ahead and take a look, see if you have a dealer near you, because who knows, they might be just around the corner and you never even had the chance to meet them. And if you already have a Nolting dealer, maybe for National Quilters Month, it would be nice to just send them a quick message or stop by their shop if they have one and say thank you for all the hard work that they do. We at Nolting really we appreciate our dealers so much and all of the work that they do for us. It is wonderful to have so many beautiful, incredible, talented artists around the world to connect with. So absolutely just make sure that you take the time to connect with them and reach out to your local dealer. Now let's hear from Terry at TLC Quilting and see how the Nolting effect is impacting her.
So the Nolting effect for me are these great American-made machines and frames. These frames will take the days of my heaviest thinking, because there are times I will spend way too much time staring at this quilt, my weight on here, and this will take it. The next thing for me is also the accessibility of the machines. One, for dealers that are out there, those of us who are here to help take care of you, but also the accessibility if someone's maybe harder of hearing. There's reactive lighting rather than beeps on some of the machines. There's available lighting built in, so maybe if you don't have the overhead space, there is lighting in here to help you see what you're doing. Noltings are strong, heavy-duty machines. I love that. That's probably my favorite thing about Noltings. And like I said, the accessibility to make this something that the average consumer, and more than the average consumer, can make use of. Because there's lights to tell you what's going on, there are often sounds, there's different ways of moving handles and such to make sure that's accessible for you, whether you're standing or sitting, need one hand, two hands to do the job. So lots of great flexibility and amazing tools.
Okay, everybody, it is time for me to sit down with our owner, Melissa, and ask her some questions that our quilters have been dying to hear the answers to. Everyday quilters call us, and I've been writing down some of the questions we've been getting lately so that we can go over them. I have our owner, Melissa, here to help answer some of them so that we can get you guys the information that you need. So lots of quilters around the world have been using domestic machines for years, or even hand sewing their quilts. Longarm quilting can be kind of intimidating for everyone, so where should someone just brand new to longarming get started?
It's completely normal to feel that way, Melody. It can be very intimidating, stressful, but one of the things that we do at Nolting is we actually take you through a process from our consulting perspective to try to understand from you as a user what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your wants are, so that we can make sure that we're fitting that. And a lot of the things at the beginning as we go through that process, we want you to feel very comfortable with us. We want you to feel stress-free as you're going through that process. And a lot of things at the beginning, if you're new, you're not going to know. And that's what we're here to do for you and help you have a really good experience in walking you through how to get to buying your first longarm. Some of the things that we always recommend at the beginning as well is something that's easy to use, something that's intuitive to use, something that's going to give you that stress-free experience. Also with the great stitch quality, we all want to make sure that our quilting looks amazing when we produce our first set of quilts, and that customer service experience, and someone, that go-to company that you want to make sure that you can ask the questions and that there's education to go along with it. And that's what Nolting is all about. Now, one of our most basic machines is the Flare. Awesome machine to get started with. It's a smaller machine. It gives you the craftsmanship of a machine that you're looking for, that gives you a stress-free quilting experience with amazing stitching as well.
That is wonderful. If there's anyone out there who's a little bit scared, don't be afraid to give us a call. You can just reach us at 319-378-0999 and we won't bite. We're going to help you out. I hear a lot of quilters say they're not really sure what size of machine to go for. There's so many options out there. What would you recommend?
It really depends on, once again, what you're looking for and how you're quilting. So some of the questions that I would ask, or you should ask yourself, is what size of quilting are you doing? Are you mainly doing twin quilts? Are you mainly doing baby quilts? Or are you doing a lot of king size quilts? That's one of the things to take into consideration when you're looking at how big your throat should be. So when we talk about a 17-inch or a 24-inch, what that means is your throat size. It measures from the back of your back of your throat to your needle. And at Nolting here, we have various sizes, 17, 20, 24. We have U systems that are even smaller than that as well. Another thing, a second thing to think about is what pattern are you going to use? So if you're using free motion, or if you're using automation and pantographs, you have certain patterns that are certain heights. So if you have a pattern that you really like and it's 12 inches, but your throat, or you're looking at a 17-inch throat, that's going to be really difficult to do because you're not, as you roll it up, you're not going to have enough space to continue that full pattern. So your pattern is one of the things to think about, and also the size of your room, because if you have limited space, you're going to want to go with a smaller setup. So those are various things that as we walk you through the questions, on asking you to help you kind of pinpoint the direction. And the other thing is really thinking about if you're in the business side or not the business side, because the smaller the throat size, the more you have to roll your quilt, and the more or the less efficient it's going to be. And that just it goes back to the time value of money. And the more you spend on quilting, then the less time it's going to be not as profitable if you have the business side of things too.
Yes, and if you are still trying to figure out what works for you at Nolting.com, you can see all of our machines and all of their features, kind of see what's calling your name, and then you can check out what size it is, and that'll give you a better idea of what's going to work for you and for your space. So not everyone has a huge sewing room. Some people are quilting even the corner of their dining room or in a little bit of spare space in their bedroom. So for people who don't really have a lot of space, they might be kind of turned off from getting into long arm quilting. Do you have any advice or thoughts for those people?
I do. We have a couple different solutions that we can provide at Nolting. We have one called our stretch steel frame, and we have one called our commercial frame. If you are looking for a smaller setup, maybe it's because you're intimidated by the big setup, or you are space constrained and you only have a certain amount of space, our stretch steel frame is a perfect solution for you. You can set our frame up from anywhere from 5 feet up to 10 feet up to 12 feet, because you actually buy your own poles, and so you can set it up as different sizes. So it's a perfect solution for smaller spaces, or maybe you just don't want the big setup at the beginning. With the stretch steel frame, the nice thing about that frame, you can also add automation to it. So it's not always about free motion quilting. So you can have the smaller setup and still do all the different forms of quilting. Your free motion quilting, your ruler quilting, pantographs, and also using your automation. And then the other setup we have, Melody, is our commercial frame. Commercial frame, once you purchase that frame though, it's that particular size, 10 foot or 11 foot or 12 foot or 14 foot. The average size is 12 foot because that still allows you to be able to do king size quilts on that. And it's a very nice setup for someone that has a space. The one thing with the stretch steel frame though, you are limited on what size of throat you can put on it. We don't recommend our big commercial frame or commercial machines to put on the smaller frame. So we have a couple different solutions, really depending on what you're looking for. As we go through that process, we can help you navigate through that process to see what the best setup is for you and your wants and needs.
Yes, and when you book a consultation with us online, or when you come in for a demo, we'll talk to you all about frames too, not just machines.
A great pair with our stretch steel frame is our flare machine, and I mentioned that before, and it's a great starter machine. It provides that smaller setup for you, still with great stitching. So check out our flare on our website or you can give us a call, or you can also go to your local dealer, and a lot of our local dealers have flares that are in their shop or in their studios.
So I love seeing free motion quilting, but it takes a lot of practice and not everyone is up for that. What about automation? How can that help quilters who maybe aren't interested in doing free motion but still want to have those complex, unique designs?
Sure. Automation is a game changer. And the nice thing about automation is that it can go on all of our new machines. It can go on either our frame, so it can go on the stretch steel frame or the commercial frame. So there's a lot of combinations with automation you can do. One of the things with automation that I always tell people is that it's really, if you think about quilting, there's 4 ways to quilt. You have your free motion, so you're driving it yourself. You have your ruler work, you have the pantographs, and then you have the automation. The automation gives you more precise quilting, and but you can use it in a combination of either do an all automation on a quilt, or you can get really into the customization and use automation with rulers and free motion quilting. So you can do a combination of all the various quilting styles when you get automation. So I want to make sure people understand, if I put automation on my machine, am I only limited to that? The answer is absolutely not. You can still do your other forms of quilting if you put automation on your machine. It gives you stress-free quilting. It also, from a business perspective, if you're thinking about taking that next stage, or if you are a business, when you put automation on there, it does reduce your hours. It reduces your hours, so you're a lot more efficient if you're doing edge-to-edge quilting, which just means a lot more profit in your pocket when you are quilting for other people, and more precise quilting as well. The thing that with automation, when you have other things that you bring with automation, such as the zipper system, you could be actually getting one quilt ready while the other quilt's over here quilting. Mm-hmm. So when one gets done, you're ready to go with your next quilting. So you're making your process a lot more organized and a lot more efficient with using automation. And just recently on our Quilt Imagine, we brought a thread break sensor as one of our new features to that automation that we have here. And what that does is, if your automation is going along, it's moving your machine, if the thread breaks, your machine instantly stops. And it's amazing. It does stop right on the dime, so you don't have to go with, oh no, I have to go back and try to repair my quilt. So that's great. You can also put the thread break sensor on existing systems, and it works amazing on all our new systems as well. When you get into machines like the Diamond and the Quilt Imagine, they work very, very well together, especially if you're doing a business. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have a business to do a Diamond. You can do it as personal, you can do it as a business, but those two systems work really well together because they have the low bobbin indicator that helps when you're using automation as well. And it also has the thread break sensor on there, so it stops the machine when you're quilting. And so automation does bring a very different perspective to your quilting experience and provide you that experience that's a lot stress-free than what you maybe had before.
Yes, and I just want to add, I know a lot of our quilters are intimidated by automation because they feel like it kind of takes away that creativity, but what we might not know is that inside the actual automation software, whether it's Quilt Imagine or IntelliQuilter, there are so many different ways that you can customize the designs before they actually go on. All it does is make the physical process a little bit easier, and like Melissa said, you can go and do a few different projects at once. So a lot of our quilters are still on domestic machines. How do you know when it's time to make that move and upgrade to a Longarm?
So that is a great question. One of the things to think about is, if you're spending a lot of time on your domestic machine, you're starting to get into bigger quilts. Bigger quilts could take up to 40-50 hours for quilting that machine, and everyone's time is worth a lot of money. So as you get into your quilting experience, your Longarm is going to provide you with an efficiency, and your quilt that may have taken you 40 or 50 hours on a domestic machine is going to take you maybe 3 hours or 4 hours on a Longarm machine. So it drastically reduces your hours on quilting. It provides you a better experience, and you're not as frustrated with that quilt. You're able to see the whole quilt, so your design is a lot more efficient. Your design is a lot more stable because you're going to be able to see as you're designing and quilting across your quilt and having a more of a consistent design versus trying to take that through your domestic machine. You're also able to provide a lot more patterns than what you might be able to in a domestic machine too. So anytime you're starting to struggle and you're wanting to make that next move, going into a flare or a fun quilter are great options, and that's what most people they will trade into or they will their first, I would say, venture going into a long arm are two great solutions to moving from that domestic into that fun quilter flare. And also from a lot of our Voyager customers. A lot of our Voyager customers, because the machine itself is really heavy. It's about 75 pounds, so it gets difficult to move around. Our fun quilter or flare are going to be about 30 to 35 pounds, so it's a lot easier on your body. So that's another thing, is a lot easier on your body going from a domestic to a long arm quilting machine too.
And as I mentioned earlier, if you're just starting to think about upgrading, you can go on Nolting.com and view all of our machines. And you can also feel free to book a demo or just come to our location in Hiawatha, Iowa. We would love to help you figure out what machine is going to work for you. So I know a lot of quilters out there have always dreamed about turning their quilting into a profitable business. What kind of traits should someone look for in a machine if they're thinking about going that route?
If you're looking for going into the business side of things, the first thing you want to look at is the craftsmanship of the machine itself. With the Nolting machines, they're all aluminum. We build them right here in the United States, and they started here, and we've continued for over 50 years now building the machine here. So they're very durable, reliable. It brings you that stress-free experience, because the last thing you want to do is purchase the machine and it continues to break down all the time. So it's super important to have that reliable system. It's also super important to have the people there to talk to, the customer support and the other customers to support you. We have a lot of customers in our dealer network and our ambassadors. That's what they're there for. They're to help with answer some of those questions for you from a quilting experience. And so when we think about the experience that we're bringing someone, our machines are there, they're reliable, including our frames. Our frames are extremely simple to use. Our commercial frames are. They're simple to load, they're simple to advance. It's still with a very durable setup. The poles are all one piece. They're all steel, so you don't have any bending or bowing, and that's something you want to look at as well. I always state, as you're going through the process of figuring out what system that you want to package, your frame is just as important as your machine. So when you look at your frame, you want to look at that high quality, very durable frame. Another thing that's good for in a business setup is if you can put hydraulics on it, because if you have different people running your business with you, maybe you have a quilt shop, you have someone that's maybe 5'3", and then you have the next person working for you as 5'9". You can now raise up and down, raise that quilting frame, so it provides your worker the best experience with using your machine as well. The perfect setup is the diamond. The diamond provides you all of that experience and that robustness in a machine, provides you the extra features and functions of the low bobbin indicator, the thread break sensor. So on the diamond, it actually starts blinking at you when different things happen, such as your bobbin running low, such as your thread breaking.
And right now, you can go on Nolting.com and completely for free, you can get our Biz Quilters Playbook. And whether you're just starting off your business or you've been doing this for years, there are so many helpful tips and tools inside of that. They're going to kind of guide you and allow you to push your business even further. So I would really recommend that. Just go to Nolting.com, hit our resources tab, and you can get that totally for free. So I hear a lot of quilters say they're really nervous about maintaining a long arm. Are they difficult to take care of?
Absolutely not. Especially, I would say our machines are not difficult to take care of. We have 4 oiling ports on our machines, and it's the same regardless if your machine is 30 years old or if it's 6 months old. We have the same 4 oil wicks on the top of your machine. And the nice thing about our new machines, our new electronics, it actually even tells you when you should oil your machine. So it starts blinking at the front of your tablet to say, hey, it's time. You've quilted 8 hours, so it's time to oil. 1 drop in each one. The other thing is every other bobbin, we always tell people to oil keep the lint out of there, keep it dust free, the lint out of your bobbin area. Same with your rail system on the back of your frame. We always tell people, use some extra batting and just go through your rail system, make sure there's no extra threads on there. And once a month, really look at your wheels, look at your axles. Those are just some extra things to do so that your next quilting experience is going to be a great quilting experience from you. But as far as maintaining your machine, it's very, very minimal on what you have to do to maintain it. We do not require that you have to bring it in on a yearly basis. You don't have to have an annual inspection to keep your warranty, because our machines are made to last. So that's what they're made for. They're made to be reliable, robustness, very simple, easy to maintain. And I know last year we created a maintenance workbook as well.
Yes.
That we have on our website. So it's a maintenance workbook that we put together that talks about kind of on an each time you quilt basis, and then a monthly maintenance log that you can do. And as you go through that workbook, you will see it's very minimal on things that you have to do to maintain your long arm and keep it in great shape.
Yes, and what's really cool about that workbook, it's called the Essential Care Guide. Whether or not you own a Nolting, that's going to help you out. Even if you're on your domestic machine, it's still going to give you tips and kind of keep you in a log of what you need to do to maintain your machine. But if you ever do decide to upgrade to a Nolting long arm, that is going to be your best friend. There are so many long arm brands out there. What do you think makes Nolting just special and stand out?
What sets us apart from other long arm brands is really the Nolting effect. And what I mean by that, because some people might, well, what does that really mean to them? When I think about our machines, what we're providing is an environment that provides a stress-free quilting experience to our customers. We're providing a machine that has craftsmanship. We have machines out there that are 50 years old and still running. We have machines out there that are 30 years old and still running because of the way we build them. So our craftsmanship, they're built in the USA, they're robust machines that we are building on a daily basis in Iowa, right here in Iowa. And so the machine itself, the way it builds, brings that experience to you. Our technology that we have now pulled into our machines, especially over the last couple of years, our technology is top-notch stitch quality. We have several different modes that provides that stitch quality, that awesome stitch that people want to see. And really, we designed that machine to have the quilter in mind, to provide them the best experience ever. Also, our customer service, our longevity of the company itself. We've been around for over 50 years. All that itself is really the pillars of our company. And Fred Nolting built that as the pillar 50 years ago. We've continued to build on those pillars, and we've deemed it the Nolting effect because we're bringing that great experience to you as a quilter, and that long arm into your home, that we can provide that great experience.
A long arm quilting machine can be a big investment, and understandably quilters want to know that they're making the right choice. So what is something you would tell someone who's on the fence about if they should get a Nolting long arm or not?
One of the things that I advise people to think about is, if quilting is really your passion, the thing that's going to make you happy on a daily basis as well is having the right tool. Just like anything in life, if you have the right tool, it makes your passion a lot easier. If you're, for example, I gave this as an example to a person one day. If I'm a golfer and I love to golf, but I don't reinvest in myself on a yearly basis because I'm using golf clubs that are 30 years old, then I might get discouraged in my experience in that particular hobby. Same way with quilting. If quilting is your passion and you're using something that is maybe really old, or it continues to break down, or you're using a domestic machine, or you're just starting to think about going to that next level, it's getting the right tool for you that will really help you in that endeavor. And it's really an investment in yourself.
Yes.
You're investing in yourself, you're investing in your hobby and your passion. And having a Nolting machine creates that environment for you so that you have the right tool when it comes to investing in yourself and your hobby.
Yes, and if you are all nervous to get started, the absolute best way is to just try it. If you are local to us or if you feel like making the trip, you can come to our factory in Hiawatha, Iowa, and we will give you a demo. You can try out the machines yourself, or if you don't feel like you can make the trip, you can book a free consultation online and we'll give you a demo over the phone. Melissa can even video call you and show you around a little bit. So don't be scared to make that move. Just head over to Nolting.com, check over our machines, check out a demo, and we can help you get started.
And also remember our dealers. We have dealers and ambassadors throughout the country as well. So they're always willing to help, and that's their role with working with Nolting is doing those demos and those phone conversations and helping you through that process as you're thinking about, or maybe you're thinking about trading in for a new Nolting machine. This is a great time to be able to do that. So reach out to any of us.
Yes, and we do have a dealer locator on our website, so you can just find out who's closest to you and give them a call or send them an email. Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for answering these questions today. I hope anyone who was kind of wondering is going to have a little bit more information now to help them make the decision that works for them. And if you're just out there watching this, I really hope that this helped you out. So thank you so much for sitting down with us and chatting for a little bit. Hi, is everyone having fun still and enjoying the live event? I just want to let you know, in case you don't know already, that this April we are going to be in Paducah, Kentucky for the American Quilter Society Quilt Show, and we are going to have a booth. The booth number, all the information you need should be on the screen right now, so please go ahead and give us a call if you have any questions. Otherwise, if you are in Paducah for the show, we would love to see you. We would love to connect with you. We're going to have all of our patterns and notions there as well as our machines, so it's going to be an amazing opportunity to not only test drive the machines, but to stock up on any quilting tools you might need, and you can meet our wonderful team at Nolting. Our owner Melissa McAfee will be there, so she has just a wealth of knowledge, and it would be so incredible for you to get to connect with her, and she would love to say hi to you, as well as all of our other Nolting representatives that will be there at the show. So if you are able to make it out, we really encourage you to come out. We would love to see you. Please stop by our booth. Let's get back into the live event, everybody, okay? Let's go over to Tennessee to hear from Jennifer Moss, one of our amazing Nolting dealers, and let's see how the Nolting effect impacts her quilting.
Hi, this is me and my diamond. The diamond is the best investment I've made in my quilting. I can do free motion, I can do my ruler work, I have Quiltmagine. I have so many choices in how I want to finish one of my quilts. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, and this has become one of mine.
Hi everybody, I hope everyone's still having fun with the live event so far. I just want to take another moment to let you know about the Nolting newsletter, which is an email newsletter we have completely for free, and it goes straight to your inbox. It is an amazing resource. We send all kinds of quilting tips and tricks, some industry secrets. You'll get coupon codes that nobody else can access straight to your inbox. You'll be the first to know about new machine launches, the first to know about promotions. Whenever we have a tour date or a new event or quilt show that we're attending, we will be sending it right out to your email. So it is an incredible resource, especially if you want a chance to snag a good deal that maybe everyone else doesn't quite have access to yet. So you can just go to Nolting.com, press events and news, and then sign up for our newsletter there. All you have to do is put in your email, or you can just give us a call at 319-378-0999 or email info@Nolting.com. Give us your name, your email, and one of our representatives can just add you into the list so that you'll start getting those emails too. All right, everybody, and that brings us to the end of today's live event. Thank you so much for tuning in. I also want to say thank you again to all of the wonderful dealers and ambassadors, and of course Nolting's owner Melissa for joining in and participating in today's event. And of course, thank you to everyone out there in the chat who is watching from home. I can't tell you how much we appreciate having you here. If you have any questions about anything that you heard today or saw, feel free to reach out to us. You can send us a message on Facebook, you can email us at info@Nolting.com, or you can give us a call at 319-378-0999, and we would love to hear you. Again, don't be afraid to reach out to your local dealer. We have a dealer locator on our website. You can get in touch with them. We have dealers all across the globe, so there's probably someone out there for you, and if not, just feel free to reach out to us directly. We are always happy to help. I really hope that you all enjoyed every moment of today's live stream. Thank you so much for participating, and we will see you again at the next event. I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.